Hey guys. So I recently enrolled in a trauma informed yoga class. I love it so much because it is helping me really finite like what I want to do with yoga. Yoga is so broad. We can teach yoga all day, which is great. I love that. And I've been doing I'll be on my third training now, and I'm super excited about it. But this particular one, it's like speaking home to me because I went through a lot of trauma growing up as a child, went through childhood neglect. My mom was an addict, so just dealing with a lot of different emotions and abandonment, betrayal, and I think this class is really helpful to me, and I think it will be helpful for me sharing and teaching yoga and helping people. I feel like there's a lot of people that probably go through the same thing but aren't really open to share because maybe they went through therapy and maybe therapy didn't really work for them, or maybe they feel like their trauma can't be healed. And I felt that way for a long time as well. I felt like, well, that void will never be filled. The mother will never be there, and that is something that I had to grow out of. I also had to let go, and I had to do the work. And throughout that work, I've learned so much just about myself, learned about just my trauma level. And I feel like this could be really helpful for me and helpful for other people. There's so many different forms of trauma, so please don't feel like you have to measure your trauma to other people, or if somebody experienced something that may be a little bit more intense than you, don't ever neglect, your personal trauma, because it's still trauma and it still affects you every day. And I think it's very important to acknowledge that. Find safe places where you can work through that. Something that I was reading and what I've discovered is, there's big T trauma, which is like life-threatening loss, neglect, or illness. And then there's little T trauma, which is not life-threatening, but it could be work, move, or the inconvenience at work, or maybe inconvenient relationships, or maybe something that kind of like sparked that big T trauma. And that's what I've learned. I felt like in my relationships in my 20s, like I had my big T trauma as a childhood, but then I'd have little trauma with my relationships because it would trigger my big trauma. So I'd be like, oh, neglect, like avoidance, and it's really helped me sit with myself. And what Joe Dispenza talks about in a video that I'm also going to share with you guys in this video, he talks about creating from the field. And when he means creating from the field, he means the universe, the energy, the space, utilizing your heart and your energy. Not in taking yourself out of the material world, out of the wants and needs that you feel like you need for you to be somebody. And he shares something that really hit me deep, because he said, in order to change, you have to let go of being somebody and become nobody. And that was very powerful for me, because it's almost like letting go of your ego. You've worked your whole life to become somebody. Maybe you went through trauma, or maybe you didn't, whichever, but you wanted to be somebody because you felt like that would fill the void of any trauma that you went through. And I can relate, because I felt that way for a long time. I felt like, oh, all this trauma that I went through, it will all pay off, and I'll just be famous and successful. But like, really, I wouldn't be happy. I would still have to do the work. And there's so many, you could be healthy. You could be healthy, active, but you're not healthy if you're not emotionally healthy, spiritually healthy, working through your trauma healthy. I think Good health is not only good physical or nutritional, but working through trauma health. I think that's very important. I'll get to that later on in a different video because that's a whole nother sector that we have to go down. I'm going to share this Joe Dispenza video and then we're going to come back.
Is so hard. So then let's offer another alternative. Well, when you begin to create from the field instead of from matter, the only way you can do that is you have to learn how to take all of your attention off your body and become a nobody. Take all of your attention off all the people in your life that you give so much of your attention and energy to because you have an emotion associated with them. And get beyond all the people in your life and go from a someone to a no one. Now, if you've worked your whole life being a someone, or if you've been working your whole life thinking that you're your body, you're going to have to work a little harder because that's your identity.
Sure.
That's what you're associated with. And
it's a long time of conditioning that you have to unwind.
And if this was easy, everybody would be doing it. So then you have to go get beyond all the things in your life, your cell phone, your computer, your car, and literally go from something to nothing. You have to take all your attention off the place you work, the place you live, the place you need to be, the place you're sitting, and go from somewhere to nowhere. You got to stop thinking about the predictable future and the familiar past and go right into the present moment and go from some time to no time. And if you do that properly, you become pure consciousness. And that's how you enter the field. Now, we've done the research on this. We call it getting beyond the self. Now, once you are pure consciousness, you're taking all of your attention off this three-dimensional reality. Now, where you place your attention is where you place your energy. So if you've taken all of your attention off of everything material, there's only one place you're going to wind up, and that is the immaterial realm called the quantum field, an invisible field of energy that unifies and connects everything material. So now when you're creating from the field and you combine a clear intention with an elevated emotion, and you're connected and you feel connected, the suggestion of an alternative way to create is that when there's a vibrational match between your energy and some future reality, you actually no longer have to go anywhere to get it. You're actually the vortex, and you will collapse space and time and draw the experience to you. Now that, to me, is a lot more fun because the experience is the unknown. You can't predict when it's going to happen or how it's going to happen, because if you can predict it, it's the known. So then you have to lay down the very thing you use your whole life to get what you want for something greater to occur. Now that goes against generations untold of conditioning and a lifetime of habituation, believing that we're trapped in this material world. And yet, I can say to you, without a doubt, that once you understand that formula, and once you know how to create that kind of brain and heart coherence, the side effect of that is a change in biology, neurologically, chemically, hormonally, genetically. We've measured it. We've seen gene regulation changes in 4 days. More brain coherence, more heart coherence. Your brain's working better. You're trusting your heart. It's open. There's different chemicals that are released. Oxytocin suppresses survival centers, resets the baseline of a person's trauma or shock. Your immune system goes up. Mm-hmm. You lengthen your telomeres. We've measured that too. So you're changing the future of your body. You're extending your life.
Going back to Joe and what he was sharing, he was saying that you have to let go of being somebody in order to become nobody. And when you become nobody, you can sit with yourself and you can allow the universe, the unknown, to pull all of that in. In the moment you let go in your mind, it's so crazy. Like, things will literally start coming to you. Those ideas. Just kind of like this trauma thing that I'm going through. Like, I just was still teaching yoga, working, and then a yoga-informed trauma class, a trauma-informed yoga class came to me in the unknown. I was on a yoga trade Zoom meeting, and this woman was talking, and the way she was articulating and the way that she was talking and just her mindset really struck me. I was just so focused on it. And then she was like, yeah, I'm offering you guys like a discount on the trauma informed yoga class. And I was like, I have to do it right now. Like, I literally, like, it's so crazy. Like, I didn't even have much money at the time, but I was like, this is so important to me. If I have to go lift all day to get this money to pay for this class, I will. Because the investment that you put in towards something that you care about really pays off. But rewind. Let's go back to what I was saying. I feel like the unknown will send you the opportunities that you need when you need them, when you allow to create from matter and not from material. And when you're creating from material, you're creating from what's in front of you, your environment, how people are treating you, how your life is supposed to go. But when you let all of that go and you're creating from matter of what you truly are and what the universe really wants to give you, everything pans out the way it's supposed to. And that's not easy. It's very difficult. Changing your identity, changing your brain chemistry to really allow that to happen, because we're conditioned to think a certain way. We're conditioned to have all of these things lined up. We're conditioned to act a certain way. We're conditioned for things, and I think it was a really good test for me, going back to my own personal. I visited home. I'm from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, this past week, and I was tested in a lot of ways because, where I'm from, there's a lot of conditioning. There's a lot of conditioning of trauma. There's a lot of conditioning of, oh, we don't care. Like, no one cares about your problems. Whatever. Let's just have fun. Or, there's a lot of conditioning to be sad. I went to visit my mother and she's not doing well. And the old me would be conditioned to be sad and to feel sorry for her and to feel sorry for myself or to feel sorry for my family. And I realized that, in order to really work through some of these things, you have to accept them. And accept them in the unknown. That whatever the universe, God, whoever you believe in, has a reason for all of these things. And that your reasoning is way more powerful than your control. Because all of these things that has happened is not your doing or in your control. And once you accept that, you'll have more control over your thoughts. And when you have more control over your thoughts and your emotions, you begin to change your brain pattern. You begin to heal. You begin to see how illness, how poverty, how stress, how this trauma can actually deplete from your life. And I'm not saying that it's depleted from my life and that I have it all figured out, but I can say that I've been feeling a lot better over the past couple years by thinking that way, by knowing that it's not really up to me to save anybody or to heal anybody, but to just change my mindset,